Okay, Jeremy, it's all you.
All right, I guess I'll get this started off with my little spiel here. Good evening, DRB. We're here tonight for your consideration of a proposal titled Bailey Single Family Residence and ADU, a single family residence and attached accessory apartment located at 2913 Harborview Drive. The site is located in the shoreline jurisdiction, and the proposed development is subject to a shoreline substantial development permit, which is currently being processed.
I'm having some technical difficulties with my
The subject parcel is located in the city's WC Waterfront Commercial Zoning District, as well as the Historic District, and is surrounded on adjacent sides by the WC Waterfront Commercial Zone, with RB1 located on the opposite side of Harborview Drive. The subject site contains a existing non-conforming garage located along the front property line within the required setback area.
Actually, Jeremy?
Yeah.
May I pause you for a moment? Because we do
Sure.
need to let Darren call the meeting to order and provide roll call. So we're going to back up just a little bit and let Darren take that part.
Yeah, Darren actually just texted me. He's having some difficulties with audio right now.
Okay.
I could barely hear him when he talked just a little second ago. But yeah, we do need to call the meeting to order. And
so John, would you like to take over that while Darren is working on?
I got to see if I can find my notes in a second. All right, I'm going to go call this from my phone from my hip right now. Hang on a second. All right, this is the meeting for the DRB for December 8th, 2002, 5:06 p.m. It's John Ashlock calling the meeting to order right now. I want to go ahead and do a roll call for DRB meetings members to begin with. I'll just go ahead and do the names, and as it is, if you say okay, that would be great. So John Ashlock. Guy, you are new to the meeting.
Hello.
Brianne, are you present?
Here.
Amy.
I am present.
Marlene.
Here.
Okay. Darren, I know you're on, but you are having problems with audio right now, so I'm going to say here for you on that one. And then staff. Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy Hammer, Associate Planner, City of Gig Harbor, here.
Cindy.
Cindy Andrews, Planning Technician, here.
Okay, and we have a couple of applicants here for this evening. Dave.
I'm here, Dave Freeman.
Griffin.
I am here.
And I believe Kinsey.
Here.
Okay, I believe that grabs everybody on the line, right? Anybody I missed?
Yeah, Brad and Michelle Bailey. We are the applicants, I guess. And Mackenzie, Mackenzie is our daughter, and Griffin is our son-in-law.
All righty. And so bringing up notes here. We have a minutes to approve from, I'm trying to find the date on this one. I believe it was October 13th, Cindy, is that correct?
Correct, October 13th.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on the approval of the minutes for October 13th? Anybody would like to make a motion to approve them or make a change?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All right. All approved?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion moves. All right, so tonight we have one applicant on this schedule. And it is for 2913 Harborview Drive. It is dealing with a building of a house on the property and a remodeling of the garage. They also came to us previously. And Cindy, do you have the date on that one handy right now?
The date, I'm sorry.
It was August 25th.
August 25th. Thank you very much. All right. At that point in time, Cindy, is there anything I missed since I don't have my cheat notes?
We do need to go through the announcement application, the open public meeting, appearance of fairness.
I don't have those notes.
That's okay. We just need to double check if anyone has any concerns with appearance of fairness with the project from staff, from DRB members and applicant.
Quote Cindy on that one. Anybody have any questions or concerns for appearance of fairness for this project with anybody on the committee or for staff?
Hi, this is Brad Bailey. I don't know what that means. What is appearance of fairness?
Conflict of interest in many ways.
Oh, okay.
All right. No objections?
No.
No.
On that notice, we will go ahead and move over and turn it back over to Jeremy then to talk about the project.
Thank you, Jeremy.
All right, thank you. I won't start from the beginning since a lot of that was covered on calling the meeting to order. But so anyways, the subject site contains an existing non-conforming garage located along the front property line of the parcel within the front setback. And with the location of that existing garage, it does not appear possible to locate a single family home on the site in a manner which would comply with the specific requirements under 1799-520A, which is de-emphasize residential garages. The applicant is requesting relief from this design requirement. This requirement was previously discussed at the August 25th Design Review Board meeting, which resulted in the board requesting changes be made to the exterior of the existing garage on the site to make it more consistent and compatible with the proposed design of the single family residence. The applicant has taken those requests from the DRB and made changes to the overall design, which are shown in Exhibit A to the staff report. Among those changes, slate roofing to replace the existing roof, clapboard siding with a stone veneer below, and carriage doors on the garage fronting Harborview Drive. Tonight's meeting has been appropriately noticed to the public and no comments were provided in response to the notice. Additional design requirements were reviewed by staff and determined to meet the design standards prescriptively and thus may be approved administratively. So as a result, our focus of this evening is to discuss the previous mentioned design requirement only. Staff believes the proposal as shown on the plans constitute an overall improvement over the existing conditions of the site and is consistent with development on adjacent parcels. Should the board agree with the analysis described in section 6 of the staff report, staff has prepared suggested findings and recommendations for the board to consider adopting this evening, which would recommend approval of the requested alternative design. So this concludes my synopsis of the Bailey Single Family Residence Design Review, and I'm happy to address any questions prior to the applicant in their presentation.
Does anybody from the DRB have any questions for Jeremy? I think we'll go and move ahead to the applicant then for your guys' presentation.
I don't have a graphic up that I can show you. There's one over here on my sideboard, but if you're looking at the one provided by the city, the existing garage and the proposed new residence have now been designed to be visually compatible using a clapboard siding technique, using some graphics, some brackets and elements that were found on the garage. We've modified the windows so that they are more in keeping with this historical zone, this area. If you're looking at the north elevation, those circular windows have been replaced with a window more like the one on the little bit lower right-hand side of that elevation. So that sort of modern look is no longer in there. So the what would be the south side is the most prominent garage elevation. Both is right on the sidewalk. To the left, you'll see the entrance to the new proposed single-family residence. The 3 garage doors that you see are designed to look like carriage doors, although they may be sectional overhead simply because having a door swing out into the sidewalk would not be a very good situation if you were to, you're blocking the sidewalk. So that's the only difference. It won't be noticeable to anybody if it's a sectional versus a double swing carriage. Let's see, let's go to the next elevation set. This elevation set does show the proposed clapboard siding with shingles up above that and the stone veneer below it. I believe this is very compatible to the material choices and selections I have done in the past and what the cities should probably looking for in the historical district. So I think it'll be a very pleasant looking brand new residence, and with the garage refaced and redone, I think it's going to be a marvelous little complex right there, highly visible. So any questions?
Is the new proposed design, are you now combining, you're actually attaching the garage to the new home? Because I believe, if I remember last time we had talked about it being 2 separate, even though it looked like it was an adjoining building, it looked like it was still separate. And maybe that was just because the design hadn't been, taken through both structures. But is it now one, it's going to connect basically inside? Okay.
The structures are connected.
Okay. Yeah, and I noticed that the dormer, you've reduced the size of the dormer overall, so it doesn't overhang the old garage.
No, yeah.
Okay.
And we've got an architecturally acceptable stormwater drainage system going to be designed in between the 2 of them. So
right.
It should work fine.
I remember John, I think you were concerned about the 2 roofs, and it can always be a dangerous thing to have those 2 peaks kind of meet up. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely glad you tied the buildings together. I mean, the comment on the previous meeting was, well, it was for height was the big reason you came to us off of it. And you weren't touching the garage. The garage was higher than what the city allows. You wanted the variance for the building, but there was a comment that, well, you might tear down the garage. I'm glad you're keeping the garage. I think you are updating it nicely. Definitely make sure those downspouts are properly sized, because that's a lot of water coming off of both sides. But that's what architects are for in engineering. No, I think you tied it together. I do have a question on the addition of the walkway off the side of the garage. So left-hand side of the garage, when you're looking from the road, so you have the walkway going in there now. Is that just bumping out? I couldn't really tell on the graphic. Is that going all the way down the house, or is that just tying into the garage to tie in, or do you increase the entire footprint of the house in general to accommodate for that?
Well, the increase would be beyond the 20-foot mark setback in width, so it's not it's conforming, and it actually drops down about 18 inches. The graphic that you have isn't showing it correctly, but the door would be set down a little bit, so it's even more discreet, but it's visible. It's very visible, and it is an addition to the west side of the garage and a partial west side of the proposed new residence.
Thank you. So Guy, I know this is your first day on the DRB, and I believe you're here for part of the historical preservation portion of it. So the garage was originally built, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, 40s, I believe it was?
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it may have been even before that, but okay. I have no way of telling you any different.
So a little bit of background on it. There is no adjacent house to it. They're adding a house into it. The house that came with the garage was actually next door a separate parcel now. They're tying it together. They're keeping the structure. And in the last meeting, the variance was really the height is what it came down to. And then also the fact of now that they're touching the garage, we aren't supposed to have garage door facing the public right away, but this is pre-existing in many ways. And I don't know if you've seen the garage as it stands today, but it's not the prettiest thing in the world, to put it bluntly in my mind's eye. So do you have any questions at all for Dave on this?
No, it'd be interesting to see the existing garage side by side with Dave's drawing there. And, you know, I've seen that garage all my life, so it's a garage, but it's historic. You know, it's part of the weird fabric of the buildings in Gig Harbor for sure. So, you know, any way that it could be, you know, retained. And like I say, I looked at it yesterday just so I could have an idea of how the new drawing would deviate from it. It doesn't appear that it deviates too much. I mean, I've always appreciated the building, but I appreciate stuff like that. And yeah, other than that, I mean, one of my primary questions, and this probably isn't the purview of the board, but you know, the WC waterfront commercial property description, you know, it doesn't, while I see the residential use in the matrix, it's doesn't conform with the description of the highest priority uses or what they say is the high degree of physical access. So, you know, being a waterfront guy, that concerns me, that we're essentially changing the character of a piece of property from commercial to residential, when that waterfront commercial property is exceedingly rare and disappearing fairly fast. But I assume that's not part of our purview on the design review board.
I'll make it.
Yeah.
Just I'll
Yeah,
make
make it answer
That would not be part of the design review.
Yeah, okay.
the existing parcel, and with the new proposed residence on it, we still retain the net shed, which by definition is a commercial entity. So that will not go away.
Okay, hey, Guy, this is Brad Bailey. And I wanted to speak to that a little bit. I mean, I have had a lot of discussion with Randy Babich and talking about how the property was used, you know, historically and built by his grandfather. Architect Dave Freeman and Carl and I have spent a lot of time looking at, you know, it was the family homestead. So it was a dwelling for the family, and subsequently on Sparrow's passing or before, he gave one side to one son and one side to the other son. And so historically, I think it has been a residential property. We've also taken quite a bit of effort to study that building. And if you look, there are, you know, like a lot of these older buildings in Gig Harbor, you know, they weren't built with incredible materials and incredible craftsmanship. But there are elements to it, like the what is it, David? The rafter
tails. The rafter tails.
Tails, yeah. And we want to. There are some of those rafter tails both on the Babich residence, which is still there in the adjoining property, and they are on the garage structure now, and we plan to incorporate those into the entire structure.
Yes.
And bring those in. We are also wanting to keep some of the original clapboard look. The structure, like John was saying, the structure itself is quite dilapidated. The roof is covered with moss, and a lot of the structure is rotten. But there are definitely elements that that are very Gig Harbor to, and things that we've seen Dave Freeman, as we've driven around and looked in Gig Harbor, these rabbit tails on rafters are an element that certainly is very Gig Harbor. So we've done, it's a very simple structure. It's a rotting box with a mossy roof, but we are doing everything we can to keep the Gig Harbor look and feel.
Well, I appreciate what you've done. My concern that I voiced was, a more general concern about the disappearance of commercial opportunity on the waterfront. And, the way I look at having grown up in a house that was directly connected to a working use, the houses that these fishermen and boatyard people grew up in were secondary to the parcel's use, which would have been commercial fishing or boat building in my case, or I think that's sort of been lost over time, that those guys probably wouldn't have lived there. The reason they lived there was the connection to the net shed and to the boats, or the boatyard, or in Gustafson's case, the Stearns property, the connection to the fuel dock. I mean, it's just the way it was, and I believe that the residential use was secondary to the waterfront commercial use always, but that, those days are gone. So.
Thanks, Scott. Marlene or Brianne, do you have any questions? Or Larry, actually, you're online too.
I am here.
Any questions for the applicant?
None at this time.
Similar here.
Marlene, or the last one standing?
I guess the only little question I have is about the landscape plan. I'm seeing what looks like 3 parking spots coming off the driveway easement. So I'm assuming that the garage is going to be used more for storage than for storage of cars. Is that not that it matters that much. It's a weird location to have a garage. You are right on the street. You'd have to back out right onto the street. I think if we were building it now, we wouldn't do it that way, but it's one of those quirky things. I think the detailing on the house is, it's nice enough. I think that a lot of people will be happy walking by it. So I don't have any other questions, and I think I'm ready to maybe put a motion on the table for you.
So the parking strip, I believe those were actually more for the ADU than the primary house, weren't they, Dave?
There's a combination of, there is ADU, but there's a total of, we'll see 5 stalls in there, I believe, if I'm looking at the right site plan. So that's roughly the equivalent of what's there today in a graveled parking strip. Yeah.
I just, Darren just texted me. He is still having issues with audio. I just want to make sure he had nothing that he wanted to bring up to a text relay here. Otherwise, I think we might be up for a vote on this one. I do have to say, Dave, I do appreciate, I think you guys did bring in our thoughts and suggestions from the last meeting. I know I had quite a few concerns with the height, and then also dealing with the buildings being separated and just issues down the line on it. I think you tied it together quite nicely, and really in general, from the street, it's a much better looking facility than what's there right now. And I think if you would have done the 2 separate, it would have been very odd to have the 2 next to each other, and would have been more of a blight than anything that's decent on Gig Harbor. So, and Darren has not responded back yet again. So I think we are at a point now, if somebody would like to make a motion, we could make a motion.
to approve. I think it's a lovely improvement, and it looks unified, and it's a much improved structure, and I think it is as intended as far as what we are historically trying to preserve, what we can control. So I motion that we accept this.
I will second that motion.
Any objections? Okay. Vote. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good evening and a Merry Christmas.
And you as well. Thank you all. Take care.
All right. Thanks again.
All righty, let's see here. So applicants are all off right now. Cindy, do we have anything else for upcoming meetings or anything else needs to be accomplished on this meeting?
Actually, no, the next meeting is on the 22nd, and that meeting, we don't have a project to move forward for that meeting, so that meeting will be canceled.
Excellent, because I'm gone, so that's even better.
Yeah, I know it's Christmas.
Getting awfully close to Christmas.
Getting awfully close to Christmas. So yeah, so I think that is it. We just need an adjournment.
Did we have new members?
Yeah.
I think Guy was on, and I think he's gone now.
Guy is gone already.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to warn Guy that he can't leave till excused.
Do we have other new members, or is it just Guy?
It's just Guy.
Okay.
Moment. And we'll make note to let him know that we'll excuse him next time he needs to. So little matter, little detail.
All righty. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Right, Marlene got it. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
One.
Brianne got it.
Marlene and Brianne.
All right, everybody. You have a great one and have a very good Christmas, everybody. And
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, John.
You too. Thank you.
Christmas, everyone. Have a good evening.
I'll have better cheat notes next time.
That's fine. We got through it. Thank you for stepping in. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Have a good one, you guys.
Everyone have a good evening. Bye-bye.